Hi, Alterra. This is Mickey Hernandez from Cultural Outreach, and we are continuing our video tutorials. But this is the first video of a series that we'll be starting focusing on branding and using Instagram to connect and share stories with people online. So, first of all, I know that for some people, you might be really familiar with Instagram. You might be somewhat familiar, or it might be a completely foreign platform to you that you might not have an interest in. And I just encourage at whatever level you are, just to watch these tutorials as kind of a starting ground of something new to think about when it comes to marketing and connecting and ultimately gaining and generating leads. So think of Instagram as an extension of your marketing tools. And some people might think, oh, it's only for sharing personal things. But the real power about Instagram is that people are able to see your personality. They're able to see your authenticity, and they're able to see how it is to work with you based on kind of how you live your life, or based on your interests, or even when it comes down to design aesthetic. Our societies become more and more visually strong in terms of we are constantly connected on our phones. We have internet searches. We're looking people up all the time. So we become a visual group, especially when it comes to millennials and younger demographics. So in terms of the purpose of this initial video, I'm just going to walk through a few case studies as just inspiration for you to see what a really nice Instagram page looks like. And then moving forward, we'll walk into different tools where we can get you a closer step. Now, I do also understand that these are brands that have a complete team that is their social media guru. And we know that you're not going to go out and probably have a professional quality photo shoot to have 365 days worth of posts. However, we think that at least we're inspired by other content that we see, and we want you to feel inspired as well. And just pick up on little tricks and tips and ideas that you can start incorporating into your own kind of personal brand, and mix that with your company purpose and your mission online. So to start off, we have Apartment Therapy has a really good example of, kind of fun, vibrant content that's visually pleasing to look at. So one thing you'll notice about these different case studies is that every single one of them has a very clear message in their profile. So we have Apartment Therapy, helping everyone to live happy, healthy lives at home. Share your home photos with Apartment Therapy. It's very clear, concise, and keeps it simple. So now as we just browse through, you can see that these are all very, bright, colorful looks at decorating the home. And this is something that, especially for when you're thinking about first-time home buyers who may have been renting for the past, 5 to 10 years, this is probably a brand that they're familiar with. So think about where people are at in their kind of like life stage and the type of content that they may have already been looking at, and keep that in mind in terms of how the expectation or the environment in which people are looking, as sort of like a base to see what interests could be lined up with people that you're trying to connect with. So our second example of a case study is WeWork. So WeWork represents what I think is a very kind of modern brand. They have completely changed the game when it comes to offices and what it means to work a 9-to-5 job by kind of breaking up. You can work there after hours, you can work there in the morning, you can bring other people around that you may have never met before, but now you work in an office next to a tailor and maybe someone who has a startup that sells baby clothes, So WeWork has kind of blended the circles in terms of what people are exposed to, and it's a very good example of a modern brand. So again, they have a very simple we work, make a life, not just a living, hashtag we work. And then if you take a look at their photos, we see they have trending topics like Pride for the month of June. Again, very colorful, bright kind of imagery. Do what you love, kind of these catchphrases that will really, that's their slogan, but that kind of embodies what the millennial and kind of modern outlook is living life to the fullest and having a lot of choice in terms of how you live that life. So just keep that in mind in terms of messaging and kind of what, you know, people are looking at in terms of what it means to work, live, and play. So our next case study is a site called Know Your City. So this is use our hashtag, Know Your City for a chance to be featured. So this is an example of something that is very interactive. So basically what this account does is it features images taken from people about their favorite parts of their city. And this is a great way to inspire your followers to not just kind of passively scroll and look at the photos, but it gives them motivation to really build that connection and kind of have this idea that, oh, wow, they can feature me. I can, you know, be on their page. And it kind of goes along the line of, you know, branding is all about telling a story, and everyone wants to have their own story. So if you have a platform where you can not only share your story, but you can share the story of someone that you've connected with, then that's a great way to be interactive and really allow that engagement to happen in an organic way. So people will post a photo, they'll use the hashtag Know Your City, and then the site will go ahead and feature that image on there and do a shout out by tagging the person who originally posted it. So this is a cool kind of interactive example. And then our final one is one that's a little more clean. Our next one is one that has a very specific design look that I think I want us to look at it in terms of inspiration, not as the expectation, because I don't want to overwhelm you thinking you have to, you know, go out making all of these different graphics and videos all the time. We know that you're busy doing your job, but this is just an idea of what it means to kind of build a look of what your content is saying to people. So this is Elvest. They are a company that specifically target women in teaching them how to invest their money. And first of all, they have a very specific niche market, so they know who their audience is. And then second, because they know who their audience is, they're able to create content that is catered towards that very specific audience. As you can see, their byline is "Money is power. We're on a mission to close the gender money gaps. Join us to disrupt money." So another common theme with all of these case studies is that they have a very specific hashtag in their profile that they use. So as you can see, they have a very clear design aesthetic, and that's just something that a lot of accounts do, because ultimately what works when it comes to building your brand is building a very clear image of what it means to be your brand. And so that's something that I want you to think about over the next week is visually, what can you use to communicate what your values are, how your service is, how you communicate with customers, and ultimately what your favorite part is about your job. Why do you do what you do? Think about some visuals that align with that mission. So you see that there's a good mix that they use of video, of text, of photos, and there's kind of like this common color scheme that's going on. So this is kind of the pinnacle of what it means to really curate a look. And we're going to go ahead and dive in deeper in the next video in terms of how to build a look, but I kind of just wanted to brush on it with this example. To wrap this up of just thoughts to leave you with is, what are some things that stuck out to you about these profiles? Is there anything that you really liked? Is there anything that you really liked? Is there anything that you find is kind of like maybe not something you like? You might think, oh, that seems silly, or I don't understand how this is important or why. We want to hear all of that type of feedback. If there's something that you really want to understand more, like why did they choose that hashtag? How can I choose a hashtag? We're going to dive into a lot of those different details as we go along. So if you have any questions, you guys can always reach us at support@culturaloutreach.com. And we are happy to hop on the phone with you and kind of dive a little bit deeper if you have more questions. But stay tuned. Over the next few weeks, we'll be talking about how to build a look and kind of decide on an aesthetic that works for you, how to use hashtags and different tips like geolocations and other fun stuff that's all related to Instagram. So happy posting.